Hello, Broncos country, and what's up, Orange and Blue crew? Welcome to this week's edition of the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast here on the Orange and Blue Network. Tonight, we're going to have a really fun show. Of course, we're going to talk about last Sunday's game. Of course, we're going to talk about this Sunday's game, but we're also going to take a really fun walk down memory lane because this week, Demaryius Thomas gets inducted into the Denver Broncos Ring of Fame, and we celebrate the Super Bowl 50 squad because it's the 10-year anniversary of Super Bowl 50, and they will be being honored at Sunday's game. So we're going to walk a bit down memory lane, remember DT, remember the Super Bowl run, talk about our favorite moments, talk about, the memories that we've got. It's going to be a blast. Please stick around. I hope you enjoy it. I know I'm gonna. This is the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast. Let's go.
Smooth, the pins to chew, breaking down plays about to debut. Denver pride in every view. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Bright lights of my heart in our view. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. From draft picks to game reviews, celebrating wins, analyzing the clues. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. No orange and blue.
Nothing rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast.
What's up, Orange and Blue crew? How you doing, Broncos country? Welcome to this edition of the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast here on the Orange and Blue Network. I'm Johnny Bakke, the Mile High Viking, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, my cousin, my childhood best friend, Jay, the Dream Weaver. What's up, cuz? How you doing? No audio. We've lost you on audio.
Oh, check. All right.
Check, Mike. Got it.
Yeah. All right. Draft over. Final draft here. But I'm excited to, not look to the past. We are done with London. We're back home. We're in the countryside, and we can move on to bigger and better things. Like we said on Sunday, it's dirty, but at least it's a dub. So riding high this week.
It's true, and I'm sorry. I know you just said not looking to the past, but of course we are going to discuss a little bit of it because the past does inform the future. Cause
this is true. The vibes are to the future. The vibes are.
Yes, the vibes are definitely to the future. They are definitely to the future, and I'm we are definitely here to to enjoy it. So.
But I guess, with looking at the future, we do need to look to the past because we have a future game that honors the past. And it's not every day you have one of those. I'm super excited.
It is not. Last season, I had the honor of being there during the Ring of Fame enshrinement of the two gentlemen from the 77 squad. And enjoyed the hell out of it. It was incredible. What an amazing honor it was to be there, and also, of course, to watch the Broncos spank the Raiders that day. So just as exciting, But
I will say, I wish we were doing, special jersey day, something different, just because of the day. I think the, obviously the Raiders game you went to with the throwbacks was like a thing in itself, just because of the jersey thing. But
it was special. Hey, while you continue to kind of just talk for a minute, I've got to check on something real quick because I'm having a bit of an issue with my internet connection. Give me one moment.
Yep, absolutely. It's crazy that we're going to have DT obviously up in the ring, which is amazing to focus in on that offense. But that offense was not the greatest in the world, at least for the Super Bowl 50 team. That defense was obviously, the historic side of life. And that correlates so much to this team today. So it's just kind of weird to, honor the past and bring up the Super Bowl 50 team that like has so many remarkable traits, similar traits to the team that we have now. It was very much the feeling, I remember in 2015 being like, don't let this defense down. Like, this defense is so good that it deserves to have success. Like, the offense was just such a bummer killer for a lot of that part of that season. And like, that's kind of in a nutshell what we've experienced thus far in the season. Man, a lot of people talking bad about Bo Nix on the airwaves from what I have been able to consume here in the last couple days. Different memes and whatnot out there saying Bo Nix is the worst statistically of the winning quarterbacks thus far in the NFL, like teams that have winning records. He hasn't been great, but we've saw it through last year, so we have, hope for the potential of this offense to finally put it together. And, that's like the title of this episode. When will we see the breakthrough? That's what we've been talking about, of like, when are we going to get the complete game? The game that is against a meaningful opponent that's not the Cincinnati Bengals, that we put all three phases of football together. My gosh, John, we will get into the special teams and like how we had to make a move for a former Boo of Sean Payton. But it's weird that, we just haven't seen the full game yet. So it's going to be an interesting week. It's going to be an interesting week and an interesting, correction of, what we saw on Sunday out of this team. I feel like, people are beating them up enough for like barely beating the worst football team in the world in the Jets to maybe they're going to come out with guns a-blazing against the Giants. Whereas, maybe if we destroyed the Jets in London, like everybody predicted, people kind of thought maybe the Giants game would be that hiccup game because that is the hangover of a lot of travel, with the Philadelphia to, London aspect of travel. It'll be interesting. But let's get into some comments here. Oh, we got Bronco Rob in the house. Let's go. R.I.P. to DT. Yeah, man, DT, that's a whole, obviously, segment of this show, or it will be. But, Sunday is going to be such a off-the-field game. Like, yeah, we're going to have a game, and it's a, somewhat important game. I wish it was against Russell Wilson. That's a whole nother spiel in itself that, what was it, last week when Dart went down, we thought it was a concussion. He went into the tent. Like, I was like mini cheering. I sent that out in the group text because I wanted to see Russell Wilson. I was like, oh, there goes Dart. Dart's down. Let's see it. Like, Russell Wilson, you got the next 2 weeks. Come back to Denver. Because I just so badly want to see this defense up against like what Russell Wilson is, giving up tons of sacks to like mediocre defenses. So what's he going to do against our defense that's historically great in quarterback pressures right now? Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm super excited for Sunday just to kind of see what team shows up. But yeah, the DT vibes will be high. Rob coming back in saying he's got his DT jersey. He's ready to go. We got Tim Dog in the house. What up, Tim Dog? What up, fellas? Appreciate you being here, Tim. And then we got the resident hype man himself, Shy Vargas, in the house. What up, Shy? It was a bad game on Sunday. Yeah, it was boring. It was boring football. I've always felt like, in the terrible times of the Denver Broncos, it was worse as a fan to have a boring game, even if we won by a field goal, than it was to just have a terrible game, because at least like in a blowout, already knew what to expect, and it the game was over at halftime. Whereas these close call games that we play down to competition and just, rely on the smallest of margins for victory and lean on that defense, it's not a recipe for long-term success, Shy. So yes, it was a bad game Sunday. And I did say sex, Rob. Sad to say, it came out. Me and Johnny just talked about no words, and I'm already bringing the Nothing Rhymes After Dark podcast to fruition here. Not even 8:00 Mountain Time. Womp womp womp. Let's see who else we got. Oh, it is Fanatic Dak. What up, dude? feel bad for the Bros from a college football perspective. Both your teams going down, Oregon and Oklahoma, respectively. So sorry about it. Sorry about it on the Saturday. Let's see here. Yeah, dude, here's the thing, and this is a big subject, Tim. Sean Payton, that was honestly what I was so upset about on Sunday as far as post-game was more of a Sean Payton issue than a Bo issue. We haven't really seen the backlash, at least I haven't, from a national perspective of like Sean Payton's the reason why Bo Nix doesn't look good. No, they just focus on the player and what is Bo, have we seen Bo Nix regression? It's the sophomore slump. Like, he's just not processing things very well. Lot of bad things national media wise about Bo Nix here in the last couple days, and I can't help but think that there will be some sort of, again, correction to the mean when it comes to Bo Nix, like, because we've seen it put together, and like we've only added pieces to that floor of the glimpses we saw last year. We just need to be more consistent in it, and there's I don't know, there's positives and negatives, I guess, to knowing that if it's a Bo Nix problem, that's probably not going to be solved, because if Bo's not the guy, he's not the guy. But I mean, Sean Payton, we've seen it happen. Like, he's already a proven commodity. He just needs to get out of his own way, in my opinion. It's a weird situation to judge, like, who's to blame in that relationship of Bo and Sean to why this offense, is the way it is. So it'll be weird. It'll be weird to see, again, like I said, coming into this Sunday, what team shows up. Like, is this going to be a team that folds offensively and we just continue to see the same struggles? Because this Giants defense is very good. Like, it's a hell of a lot better than the Jets, I will say that. So that side of the ball will be very interesting to see. And obviously we have new injuries and more developing stories to the offensive line. It was already shaky, obviously, going into that game with Pert. We got Johnny the Mile High Viking back. Johnny, internet issues aside, I was just hopping over to like the injuries and the line and how things are not looking good all of a sudden. Like all
of a sudden, and a lot of people in the offseason were talking about how they had concerns about the depth of our offensive line, and I was like, why? We have plenty. I appreciate that, Clayton. Good to see you, buddy. I was like, no, we've got depth, a lot of depth, and we did. But now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, left guard. Like, it just, oh my God. What, I mean, I'm not even sure exactly what's going on with Pert. I couldn't find the exact injury.
Knee, just that's all I read was something to do with his knee.
I am hearing that one of the reasons he had, he rode the struggle bus so much during the game against the Jets was because apparently he hurt it on like the third play of the game and stayed in the whole time.
Correct.
But apparently Alex Singleton with a torn meniscus or with the torn ACL, he is not. So, the struggles were real for him there. We saw, I guess he tried to overcompensate for the lack of what he was able to do based on with his injury by grabbing hold of dudes and resulting in multiple holding penalties. But I mean, at this point, bring up the next man. Throckmorton's been in the league for 6 years.
Yeah,
he's been in the league 6 years, and I don't know if they decide to. All we know right now is that Throckmorton has been elevated from the practice squad. We don't know if they intend to start him in place of Pert or if it'll be Alex Palczewski slotting in there with Throckmorton backing him up. Don't know.
Wouldn't you think that if they thought so highly of him, like Alex Forsythe, like, has he recovered from the epic meltdown of the block kick in Kansas City?
I don't think so.
Like, he's just not getting even a look because, like, there's no reason he shouldn't be in. Like, he is, I thought, the next man up as far as depth, flexibility-wise. But he's nowhere to be seen.
Here's what I would expect when it comes to Forsythe, man. He has proven that he can be bullied. He's not.
Well, obviously,
he does not have a low center of gravity. He's easy to topple, and not just on special teams. It happens to him on offense as well. And the fact of the matter is, I'm betting you anything after that. After that whole debacle that was that Kansas City game last season, where they bullied him and blocked that field goal. I'm sure.
Terrible. I'm
actually very sure that Sean Payton probably at least once a week is like, okay, we're gonna bully him, and not bully, but we're gonna bully him and play and see if he's making progress, and he probably hasn't, because if he had, we would probably see the next man up there.
Yep, it'll be interesting. So, that's a gaping hole that I hope, I guess, depending on how the next couple games go, we address at the deadline.
That's a more gaping hole than Whoopi Goldberg's mouth. Anyway,
it's a large need.
Yeah, it is, and it's something that we have. They brought back Quinn Bailey for a tryout, which I'm not sure why they needed to try him out. It's like, you've known the guy. In fact, you just let him go this year. Did you really need to bring him in for a tryout? Just call the guy and be like, hey, I don't know. I guess bringing in the other three, they brought in 4 total is what I understood. Bringing in the other 3, they had to try them all out and be like, who's going to be the man? Who's going to be the guy? But it is what it is, man. We'll see. It's where we're at, man. So I don't know. Did you get how did you get all these comments in our comment stream so far?
I have. I've gotten comments down. We got a bunch of good guys in the chat here.
Yeah,
obviously.
I'm not sure what was going on with my net, dude. It was running fine, and then all of a sudden, just my speed cut in half, and there wasn't any changes. No new streaming devices connected in the house because everybody's asleep but me. Well, not my 10-year-old, but he's doing the same thing he's always doing, which is just playing around on YouTube on his phone.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, it just cut in half, so I literally had to go and reboot my whole net.
Treading water.
So I know. Hey, let's be honest though. In the grand scheme of people on Orange and Blue Network that have had massive internet issues,
you have had the least. I will say that.
I have had the least.
You are on the bottom of the totem pole of internet issues. We have all had our share of lags. Horrible, opportune times. But
there was definitely moments where it looked like your internet was being run by an anemic gerbil on a wheel.
Oh yeah, so. I was pixelated. That's my pixelation error. But yeah, man.
He was in his 8-bit era.
Yep, exactly. Soon to graduate to 16.
Have you already done our housekeeping, or do I need to go ahead and do that now?
No, go ahead with the dub. I did not go over the dub.
Well, little late in the show, but it's okay, guys. If you haven't already, or if it's your first time here, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Find us on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we are less than 60 subscribers away right now from giving away a free authentic Bo Nix jersey to one lucky subscriber when we reach 539. We are this close. Help us get there. Share it out there. Tell your friends. Ding that little notification bell so you don't miss any of our awesome shows, like Orange and Blue Blitz, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. You got the Broncos Bros on Monday night. You got us on Tuesday nights. You got Doc and JT holding down all Mile High Sports on Wednesday in the afternoon. You got Broncos Talk on Wednesday evenings. Coming very soon will be the Mile High Outcast. That will be on Thursday evenings with Joe. It's going to be a good time. You got the Breaking News podcast, The Fresh Squeeze, plus game day shows. Get bucked before the game and buck your feelings post game. You don't want to miss any of that stuff, guys. And hey, make sure you check us out on Twitter, on X, on Facebook, and catch the audio version of every one of our episodes wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And then, of course, got to show some massive love to the sponsor of today's show. That, of course, is Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. You can find the link in the bio below. Dubby is absolutely amazing stuff. All right. Dubby comes in a multitude of amazing flavors. It will be your mouth's favorite energy drink. I promise you. Look at this one. S'mores flavor that you mix with milk. What? To get your energy. Dubby has the caffeine to kick you in the butt and get you going and your day started and get you through your day without the jitters or the crash later. Why? Because Dubby has no sugar in it. It also has no calories, no maltodextrin, no fillers, no artificial colors. It's nothing but amino acids, B vitamins, and nootropics. And the nootropics keep you sharp throughout your day. And the caffeine in Dubby, which is 2 cups of coffee worth in one Dubby drink, is derived directly from the coffee fruit. It doesn't get any more natural than that, ladies and gentlemen, and you definitely want to try this. Jay and I swear by it. We've both tried many, many flavors, and I honestly have yet to find a flavor that I didn't like. So I'm telling you guys, jump on over to Dubby, get yourself the dub, just like the Broncos have gotten 3 dubs in a row and are going to get a 4th dub this weekend. Boom. But we're going to make that dub just a little more sweet because you're going to punch in code OBN10. OBN10 will get you 10% off your order at checkout. So go check out Dubby, guys. You will thank me for it later. All right. Now that we've got the housekeeping out of the way, back to it. Back to it totally.
Well,
so go ahead, Jay.
I was going to say, I saved the entirety of the DT experience till you came back. I touched upon, but
for sure. But we got a few more things to talk about, and then we're going to get there. First of all, you've already kind of hit on the injuries to the offensive line. You hit on the fact that Matt Pert was moved back was put on IR. The Broncos did try out what's his name, the wide receiver from the Titans. Burks. Sorry, I don't know why I was having a brain fart on that, but we tried him out. He didn't, walk out with a contract. Doesn't mean they're not still going to consider him, to give him a call later in the week or something. But we did try out Treylon Burks, and we signed another special teams ace.
Sean Payton's guy.
Yeah, another Sean Payton guy. Darren Rizzi. It's special teams has left something to be desired since Darren Rizzi took over, which is not what we expected. Hopefully he can get it figured out. But we have definitely regressed in multiple areas on special teams going into this season. And but this gentleman, JT Gray, most currently coming to us from the Ravens practice squad. But before that was with Sean Payton and with Darren Rizzi in New Orleans, where during the 2024 season, he only got cut during this last offseason and signed to the Ravens practice squad. He recorded something like 24 solo tackles on special teams.
I was going to say he's the missile. He is the sharpshooter that you can deploy special teams wise. That's his sole job. Like he knows his lane. I don't know.
Yeah. On paper he's a defensive end. I don't know what he can bring to the room that in that respect, but I do know that on special teams he's a monster.
Yeah, exactly. He has his lane that he sticks to, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with a specialist like that.
Absolutely not. And we got Tim Dog popping back in. Much love, Johnny and Jay. Much love to you, Tim. Love you, brother. But it's a pretty good. I think it's a pretty good signing. It's at least an attempt to right a ship that is, I wouldn't say sinking, but that is rocking very furiously in a storm right now.
The best thing out of your special teams is to not talk about them. You're never going to bring up, they've been absolutely fantastic. Like most of the time it's a good thing if you just don't hear from them. They're a constant, it's kind of
most of the time.
You can say the same thing about a kicker. We only talk extensively about them when they screw up. Like that's such a hit or miss position like that. Well, unless you're you. That's why you're unique, okay? What makes you unique?
Hey, listen, here's the thing. I got to show my love to the specialists, okay? Because theirs is a very specific skill set that they have to hone. Yeah. Just like anybody else. And very often, the overall outcome of a game falls on their shoulders, but they still get overlooked. And so I've always made it a point to be like, I'm going to talk about that guy because he deserves it.
Lutz broke Jason Elam's field goal record last year. And nobody even knows that really. And it's not because of the extra game. Like he did it without the extra game. So it is like for like record. But yeah, you're right. I mean, nobody talks about it.
So I always try to show the love to the specialist because it is a very difficult position to play. It is very unique and one that has to be honed and perfected and practiced because it's a perishable skill. I promise you. Take one season off as a kicker and try to come back and kick a 40-yard field goal. You're probably going to miss a few. These guys have to constantly practice. That's why you see them on the sideline kicking into a net constantly, even in points of the game where we're up by 14 or something. You'll see if you look to the sideline, you will, we're up by 14 or something, but that hasn't happened in a while. You'll see Will Lutz on the side still kicking into a net over and over, keeping that leg warm and keeping and practicing his angles. All of it, man. It's important. So I got to give that love. But anyway, I digress.
Hopefully this signing, I was going to say, hopefully that signing turns the ship around because, we're talking about special teams and too much.
I don't know if I would say that it'll right the ship, but I think it might add some ballast.
Yep.
If you take my meaning, like maybe a step in the right direction to righting that ship.
Shame.
Let's see. Rob says Jay's cat was trying to get drunk on a Tuesday.
Dude, my cat just doesn't. No F's given. Like he just whatever. There could be a plate of pasta or anything, and he's gonna.
Hey Jay, would you say it's safe to say he doesn't give a buck?
Oh, that's true. As his name is Bucky for the world to know. I mean, I guess you wouldn't know that, but yes, my cat's name is Bucky. He's a orange tabby, and he's a good boy.
Yeah. Well, he acts like a dog, so you talk to him like a dog.
Yes, it's true. And he's a good boy.
Let's see. Michael Yost coming in saying, "What are we talking about, boys? Just got here, and I have a bone to pick with our team." Well, we've kind of done the best that we can, bud, on just kind of hitting on the injury issues, the fact that our offensive line has suffered yet another player to IR, and and we talked about the new signing, at least of our new special teams ace, and a little bit on Darren Rizzi and the special teams regression this season. Offense for sure. That's a big part of this episode, and we're going to get to it here in just a minute, is kind of talking about when we're going to see how we're going to see an offensive breakthrough. So
I was going to say, I was just talking about the relationship between the optics of the offense right now and who gets the blame, Sean Payton or Bo, in the light of, at least to my sense, like national media is blaming Bo, and this is a Bo problem. Whereas I think us people that kind of live and breathe this team know it's a Sean Payton problem, because Sean Payton, frankly, is being an overbearing parent right now to Bo Nix and not allowing him to fail. And he is protecting him too much from, all right, dude, your offensive line is going to suck. We've got problems. So I'm just going to dumb the playbook down, and I'm just going to do the most simplistic play formations, and I'm going totally vanilla. And you know what? You don't do that to Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or other, quarterbacks. You just let them be. You have one of the best mobile quarterbacks and one of the most probably the most escapable quarterback in the NFL, who escapes pocket collapse better than probably anybody I've ever seen. Obviously I'm not talking like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's a runner. That's what he does. He uses, his legs are his game. Bo, on the other hand, when I talk about Bo, I'm talking about escapability, how the pocket will collapse around him and you'll see him make these incredible escapes out of the pocket, get out of it, and then move the ball. Yep. Sean Payton isn't allowing that. He's not calling up plays that give him much latitude in what he can do in those moments, and he's got to do it because that, once again, he let Bo off the leash last year. I feel like he's pulled him back. He's got him back on the heel, and and right now what we need most is to just let Bo be Bo. Well, and I mean, last game encompassed that exact thing. Like, we had the first drive of the game that looked dynamic, and we thought that's the offense we were getting for the rest of the game. Little did we know that was the last we'd see of that offense, and we'd go straight into
the fourth quarter.
Well, not even really in the fourth quarter last game. Like we had a couple instances of dragging the ball.
Better in the fourth quarter than it was after, in the second and third quarters.
Yeah, but still not. Still not amazing. It's just such a weird choice. We said that on post game too, that we're voluntarily doing this to ourselves. Like we are taking the ball out of our players' hands.
I'm going to make a point here from D-Rock that Yost then echoes. D-Rock says wide receivers aren't getting open. Yost says I don't know if I completely agree, but I agree with D-Rock that our receivers are not getting the separation they need, and Bo is not hitting his targets in stride. Yes, that's part of it, but a big part of those wide receivers getting open is scheming them right to get open. You know what I mean? Like look at Marvin Mims. Okay. Last season, Sean Payton schemed multiple plays that allowed Marvin Mims to use his speed to take the tops off of defenses. Mm-hmm. And how many times have we actually seen that for him? Marvin Mims is a gadget wide receiver. That's what he is. He's not an X. He's not a Y. He's not a Z. He is a gadget wide receiver. You use him in specific situations and for specific purposes. And right now, we are not seeing him get the schemes used, that would have been used last season to get him open for Bo. Am I wrong, or am I completely delusional here, but because I really feel like I haven't seen it?
There hasn't been very many drawn up plays behind the line of scrimmage for Mims as there was last year. I think I'd say that. Have we yet to see Mims as a halfback in a position? I know
we saw him on that jet. We saw him on that jet sweep, but that's about it.
Yeah, but that's not in a true setting up as the running back of the play. And we saw that actually quite a bit last year, and that we had success being dynamic with him in that way. The Deebo Samuel kind of float around playmaker, but we're just not seeing. I'm
just saying. I agree with you. I do agree that the wide receivers aren't getting as open as we'd like, but a big part of that is scheming specific, plays for specific players to get open based on their skill sets.
Yeah.
And that is one thing Sean Payton is failing at.
Yeah. I mean, we're all hampered. We're not pushing the field down. We're not taking chances. That's the whole point of turning vanilla play calling, and that's exactly our issue right now.
Yeah. Now another one from Yost here. Where the hell was Dobbins this week? He comes off a 100-yard week to barely making 40. Honestly, I just feel like maybe we gave the early trip to London a little more credit than we should have for the taking care of the team's exhaustion. Because looking back on my European travels, I remember it took a lot more than just a few days to get over that to really acclimate. And let's be honest, man, they went from a Monday night game to a Sunday morning, East Coast game.
It's true.
And then straight to London. I just think the team was, and they looked it too. The team was exhausted.
It was definitely a offensive line issue as to why Dobbins didn't look the same. The offensive line was, it was in shambles. Tim Dog makes that exact point. It was because there was no blocking. We didn't get any push from the line. And to your point, Johnny, that's effort and attrition.
I think they were exhausted, to be honest with you. And I read this comment by Tim Dog, and I just hear Stewie Griffin in my head. And nobody's blocking.
Yep.
And I'm actually I think this week that's going to become a new sound on our soundboard. And nobody's blocking. But
doesn't that go opposite of the intent of going there right after Philadelphia and making a longer trip of going to Europe is to not be tired, so you are acclimated and you are rested?
I would say yes to that. I would say yes. However, I will postulate that if they had not done that, if they had not taken that, because of the schedule leading up to it. Again, Monday Night Football, going into a short week against the Super Bowl champs on the road on the East Coast, where we are normally, we really struggle. And, then if they had gone home and then, flown out to London 2-3 days before the game, the exhaustion level I think we would have seen from them would have been even more than what we saw. I honestly think I'm going to say this, and you can hit the hot take button if you want to on this one, Jay. I think we saw the best that the Broncos could give with what they had.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying, like the injury between injuries and exhaustion that derailed us. I really believe that they put as much, maybe not all, but as much as as a lot of what they had out there.
Yeah,
and
I think we treated it as a mini bye. I think it had the opposite effect that Sean Payton wanted it to, because I think everybody let their hair down and went into tourist vacation mode with being there that long.
Maybe. I mean, he still said no sightseeing, so I don't know about that. But I do know. I mean, I guarantee you, if that was the case, that he let the team hear all about it for hours.
Do you remember, the resort that they stayed at the first year? It was on the East Coast. I cannot remember for the life of me, but it was like a really exclusive, like prestigious, the Biltmore or something like that in North Carolina. Probably. Fancy, private resort, but that was like the team bonding trip of the year. And so, I mean, I can't remember how the team played after that, but it was an extended time frame where they were away.
I think it was on Hilton Head Island, in the Carolinas.
Maybe so.
Where I actually spent quite a bit of time when I was stationed in Georgia. I used to go up there a lot, but I used to golf up there. They have the Masters course is Hilton Head, so my wife and I used to go up there and play the course. It was a lot of fun. Love that place. But in any case, they're coming home. I feel like they're going to have some more rest this week. Hopefully we'll see it turn around. But let me ask you this, because the title of tonight's show is When Will We See the Breakthrough? When do you predict we'll see the offensive breakthrough? And to you, Jay, what will it encompass and what will it look like?
I have a really bad feeling that we're not going to see the full goings here until the Chief game. Okay. Because the next two games coming up are NFC games that we don't necessarily, I don't know. They're not as big a games on a schedule as far as teams that make a difference in standings and playoff seeds. Like you cannot win starting now starts with that Kansas City game. So we've got the Giants and Cowboys right here, right?
Yeah.
And the Cowboys are not that great. We should beat them. But, and honestly, the Giants are not that great. We should beat them. Like, on paper, these should be inferior opponents that we take care of at home. So I just hope we don't play with our food, but I could see us playing with our food. And, again, playing to our competition for the next 2 weeks. We have dirty football more.
One thing that I will say is that some teams just seem to have other teams' number. Like, it doesn't matter who their personnel is, what their record is. Some teams, it just seems like when you play them, it doesn't matter how good they are, how bad they are, who's on the team, who's not on the team anymore, blah, blah, blah. They just have that team's number, dude. And for me, recently, I mean, we've played the Jets 8 times in the last 9 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's almost like they're in our own division now. We see the Jets so much, and it's always close. Is it not? Yeah. Every year we talk about the Jets, and the Jets suck. The Jets always suck. They are a dumpster fire of a franchise. They always have been. And yet somehow that game in particular, it's always close. It's always close, and it always drives us nuts. That's one of those teams to me that no matter what, no matter what the circumstances, that's a team that has our number and gives us trouble.
It's 2 NFC teams to me that kind of make the difference in this schedule. Like, for right now, the next 2 games not being, teams we're directly competing with from a standing standpoint. Like, I know that we have Houston and Vegas before the Chiefs, and those will be, interesting games of themselves. But like, that Chief game is going to be a massive deciding game, I have a feeling. That's the first game that like matters your opponent. Because the Raiders are not going to be in the running. Who cares for them? They've already mailed the season in by that point. Texans, we'll see. They've kind of been underwhelming. They are not the team that I think a lot of people thought. So that's tough because that's on the road. But we've just got an interesting stretch here until the Kansas City game that, we have opportunities to win all 4 of these games easily.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to hit a few more comments here after I kind of give my 2 cents on when I see the breakthrough, as I put it. You said not till we see the Chiefs. I'm going to say I'm actually going earlier. I'm keeping the faith. And for me, it's the Cowboys. It's week 8.
Their defense sucks.
And I could be absolutely just, here, but I'm looking at it like this. It took the offense last season 4 games to really find a stride. Okay, now this season we've struggled through 4 games, so I'm doubling that time. I'm doubling it. I'm saying week 8. Take them double the time it took them last season to get there. Like you said, Jay, the Cowboys defense is a shit show, and I'm not. If there is a get right week for this offense, it's that week for me. And
they made Bryce Young look like an MVP this last week.
Did, and it was hysterical.
That's sad.
It was hysterical. I hear what you're saying about the Chiefs game, about it not being a win right now. These other games are not necessarily like you have to win these, but I think you do. Not necessarily for your playoff seeding, blah blah blah, but because of who Sean Payton is, because of the expectations that he has, that this organization has. Is every game is important. Every game matters. It does, whether it affects your divisional standing or conference standing or not. Every game is important and should be treated as such.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go ahead and keep my faith that it's going to happen a little earlier than you think, and I'm going to say week 8 against the Cowboys. We're going to see this. I think we're going to see this offense make their breakthrough. And what does that look like to me? That looks like our run game getting going again. I think we're going to see it already against the Giants. We're going to see, our run game get going again. But I see that in week 8. And then, of course, the utilization of Evan Ingram is a huge part of it because we saw him. He was, our most targeted receiver against the Jets.
Finally.
He had the most receptions on the team, and he had the most yards for a receiver on the team against the Jets. So that tells me right now they're starting to get him involved. They're like, okay, this is where we're headed. And that's what we need. That's what we need to see. And I'm not the only one who thinks so because Yo said it right up here. Up right here. We also need to start really utilizing Ingram more in the short route passes when we are second and 3 or 3 and 2. Or 3rd and 2, and stop trying to force plays far down the field to covered receivers. Joe Medlock, one of our new Orange and Blue Network guys, comes in saying exactly what Yost just said. Ingram. So I'm definitely, D-Rock says yes. Ingram, homecoming. So a lot of agreement there. That's what I think it will look like, and by utilizing them, by building. From there, utilizing the run game and utilizing Ingram, it will open up our other receivers to catch passes because suddenly they're going to have to consider double teaming guys, double teaming Evan Ingram or double teaming Cortland Sutton and Evan Ingram if they're both on the field, which will open up passes for guys like Mims, Bryant, and and Franklin. So getting those two, firing up again, that's what it looks like to me. That's when I think the breakthrough happens against the Cowboys, and that's when it really happens.
So I mean, how do you see this Giants matchup shaking out?
I think it's going to be more of a challenge than we thought earlier in the season. Yost brings up this comment, his comment here about the dart scatterbow chemistry. That's a thing. It really is. You can't deny it. But
it's, yeah.
Jay, we were both wrong about Scatabo. Okay.
I was wrong about Dart too. I thought Dart was a joke. Like I thought that was.
I
such
thought
a
he was
dumb
okay.
move.
I didn't think he was going to be as good as he has been so far.
Yep.
But I was definitely wrong about Cam Scatabo.
For them, we'll see because they haven't faced a defense like ours. Like I'm sure everybody looks at the matchup against us on their schedule of like
they need to.
Oh, damn, our offense better come to play.
That's the thing. You look at this defense, the way they're playing right now. No team in the NFL has faced a defense like ours this season. No one. Yep. I mean, obviously, once we go up against the Raiders twice, and then the Chargers again, and the Chiefs again. They'll have faced us, but beyond that, no team has faced this defense this season, and they should be terrified because
especially
this defense.
Rookie.
Oh yeah, this defense is terrifying, and there was a point up here. Yost made it. Our defense is the only thing keeping our head above water, and in the playoff run. But you know what, Michael? What's coming up this weekend, and what's a big part of our show tonight? We're actually going to get right around to it here very quickly. Is we're honoring the Super Bowl 50 squad, the Super Bowl 50 run. And Jay made the point when I was having my internet issues and getting ready to bounce out of here for a few minutes. This is very much like that 2015 season
it's
when
weird.
You became a fan watching with me, Yost. That the offense was great on paper, but struggling something fierce. The defense carried this team and won us a Super Bowl. Peyton Manning, it was his last game, and we missed him. We hated seeing him go. But let's be honest. Did he win us Super Bowl 50? Absolutely not.
No.
The defense won us Super Bowl 50.
It's eerily similar because, there were times where the 2015 offense was good, but it was like, a 70-30 split. Most of the time they were, even or a negative to this team. And so far, that's the same recipe we're cooking with this year. It's so weird how similar it
really is. I want to bring up one last question kind of regarding this situation, and this is from Rob. But why did we do better last year, and this year we're struggling so much? I think there's many sides to that coin, as Jay, as Wino Jay takes a sip. I think there's many sides to that coin, Rob. It's not even a coin; it's a dice at this point. And a big one of the reasons I've said it a lot is that Sean Payton switched up the scheme, which changed a lot of the blocking. Mm-hmm. That changed a lot of things. Our offensive line stayed healthy all of last season, except for Mike McGlinchey. But even then, Alex Sanchez came in and you didn't even notice. But we definitely noticed have noticed now that Ben Powers is out. That's another part of it. And then of course. Another part of it, and people made this point in the offseason, and I didn't pay it that much credence, but of course I should have, is that teams now are able to prepare, have been able to get some film on us. Last season, they've got film from last season to prepare on us. You know what I mean? Like they didn't know what to expect from Bo Nix last season. They didn't know what to expect from that offense last season because it was so new. It's not new anymore. And so teams are now able, a little more able, in my opinion, to prepare for us. And that's probably the biggest one to me. No audio, Jay.
I was going to say, there is tape on Bo now, obviously. Like, everybody knows exactly what to do to face Bo, and it's play zone and put some pressure on him. Because although, he's mobile, there are times he gets flustered and his mechanics just fall apart. And that's some of the things that we've seen early on this season too, of, overthrowing wide receivers and just playing with terrible footwork. He's playing on his tippy toes. He's playing frantic. And it's just a weird regression as far as how clamped down Sean Payton got with him. Like Sean Payton's kind of taken his leash away. So I want that returned. So that's what I'm looking for at least this week.
I really want to get to our DT tribute and all that, but I have one more question that kind of just hit my brain. When I was in the Army and I found out I was having a kid, things got more real for me in terms of, because I'll never say that I was not afraid, given the things that I was doing and the places I was going. I was always, there was always a healthy level of fear, as there should be. It's respectable levels of fear and caution, right? But once I found out I was having my first kid, and he was, all that, it changed something. I was a little more cautious.
That's Bo.
Because I didn't want, do you think that, and this is not me calling anything out, Bo, okay? And if you hear this and you're like, what the hell, man? I'm sorry, but it is a question that's hitting my mind. Is it possible in your mind, Jay, that finding out that his wife, that he's having a child, could have affected Bo just a little bit up in the brain hole? Made him a little more cautious?
Much like is, tons of different events of, having a child or, having a parent pass away, or, life is happening to these players, and, those are always pivot points, I think, for anyone that's had a kid and anyone that's gone through those, type of things. But that's a lot for, to see a psychological difference, I think, to your job.
Sure.
At the end of the day, he's a professional. He'll be fine. He's, that's why we like Bo. He's a very, strict regiment type of person, and he's a very business oriented, serious. He's a serious guy.
Very, very serious and very adaptable, I think.
Yeah.
But so we still have our faith, Bo. We just need you to kind of calm down a bit. Okay?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I thought you said go, Bo, go.
We've definitely seen the blame of the Bo and the blame of the Sean, and there are portions to go around. I don't know if it's equal portions, but there are portions on each side.
No, Daddy always eats more. You know that.
Yeah, that's true. Sean's that guy.
But all right, you know what? With that being said, we still have our faith. We're tied for the third best record in the NFL right now at 4-2. We are marching. We're on a 3-game win streak. We're headed home. We are in the playoffs right now, and we're headed home.
Yep.
And for the next bout, we've been on the road for 2 weeks. It's time. We're going home, and I'm excited for it because at least as of this moment, Jay and I will both be there, bud. So it's going to be amazing.
Super
unless something changes in the next 2 days, I will be there. But and so will you. And I can't wait, man. But it's time now. It's time now. We're gonna switch gears. We're gonna go from looking towards the future to going a bit further back in the past. Right? It's time. This weekend, the Denver Broncos will honor both the Super Bowl 50 championship squad on the 10-year anniversary of Super Bowl 50, and honor the late great Demaryius Thomas. By inducting him into the Ring of Fame. So which should we hit on first here, Jay? Do you want to hit on the Super Bowl squad, or do we want to hit on DT first?
Let's hit DT first.
Sure. Well, first of all, I don't think anybody in Broncos country, myself included, has ever gotten over the loss of DT at such a young age. Granted, he was no longer playing for us, but I don't think there were, even though he'd played for the Texans and all that before he retired, I don't think a fan base has been shaken by the loss of a former player the way the DT shook Broncos country.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that, but I would say it's probably the most shaken Broncos country has felt as a whole in a long, long time.
Since Derek Williams. That was obviously a jarring thing, but
that was pretty, yeah.
But I feel like DT was a legend before his tragic death, in a different thing.
Williams kind of got the recognition post mortem.
Yeah, and Williams was a fine player and whatnot, but it's just not the same thing.
DT was a legend. DT was
just not the same thing.
And I still believe DT will be Hall of Fame one day.
Yeah, it'll be tough
at some point. It will be, but I believe it'll happen someday. And but regardless of that, what we saw from Demaryius Thomas, not only was he such an incredible player. I mean, he was, and I'm going to put up my tribute video, the one that I made years ago when he passed away, but I'm bringing it out again. I'm dusting it off and pulling it out of mothballs, and we're going to play it here on the show tonight. but and just some of the catches that dude would make, and the on the run, in the air, 50-50 balls. He was nuts. But on top, but even more than that, he was such a kind person, such an amazing person in the community, and he was so shy. For being a star. He was so quiet and so humble. And it set him apart in so many ways. Jay, give me your greatest all time. I figure it's probably the same one everybody else throws out, but give me your favorite DT moment.
It was the Tebow year. So the DT experience before Peyton Manning was always stuck out to me because, obviously, I think nationally into the NFL, everybody welcomed DT into the club when Manning arrived. But DT was phenomenal with Tebow. And so there were a couple games that stick out to me about DT performances in the Tebow year. It was a game in Minnesota, if I recall. And it was a play where, again, it broke down, and Tebow scrambled around and did his, back and forth dance in the backfield. And
I know exactly what you're talking about.
DT followed him, and followed, just improvised basically on the fly and got open, caught the ball, and that resulted in us winning that game because every Tebow game was that way. There was one play that won the game. And that was a memorable DT play to me. Probably not a popular one, but that one's always stuck with me.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it's actually similar to yours, and it's not the the
Pittsburgh playoff game,
the Pittsburgh catch.
Sure,
it's another play. And I don't remember who we were playing, and honestly, I don't even remember if it was a Tebow game or if it was a Manning game. I believe it was Manning in his first year here. And it was a play that broke down, just like you said. And Manning wasn't big on scrambling, but he was great on stepping up in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But what I remember about this particular play, and like I said, I don't remember which team we were playing. I remember they were wearing blue. They had navy blue in their uniforms. It might have been the Texans. I think it was probably the Texans, to be honest. But DT ran a vertical route and got to the end zone. And realized the play had broken down, turned around, ran back out of the end zone, back to right around the 15-yard line, and got open again. He got all the way down there, came back, got hit, and Manning hit him, and he turned around and ran it into the end zone. All the way down, comes back, catches, goes back to the end zone.
He had such just great awareness to him as far as route running and knowing when to just keep going. He always had a motor. He had effort. And that's on those broken out plays or plays that you're just not designed to get the ball. There's so many, Jerry Judys out in the world that slouch when they're not going to get, the ball and it's not focused on them. But he was just go all the time, all effort.
And you got to remember, too, we were talking about his humility, man. He was the guy. I mean, and D-Rock says it right here. When we needed a first down, DT was him.
Yeah.
But, one thing about him was, remember, he was, Peyton Manning's primary target before Emmanuel Sanders came along. And then, and when Esan got here, he welcomed him with open arms. And suddenly he was pretty much splitting receptions with Emmanuel Sanders, some with Wes Welker, but he didn't complain at all.
Mm-hmm.
He knew I'm going to do what I got to do for my team. And no matter what that looks like. And there he was. It was amazing.
And the way he was treated and the way he treated others, I mean, we still have lineage on our team. I mean, he put Cortland Sutton under his wing when Cortland Sutton was a rookie. And, that was his guy. And basically trained the person that was there to replace him. What an outstanding guy out for a young guy.
Knowing full well that was his replacement.
Absolutely. I mean, it was his exact replica of a body style and play style.
Didn't care. Yep. Still put him under his wing. And I can remember that, during that season, where Cortland and DT were together.
And DT,
Yeah.
that three, so sick.
And I remember early on in that season, Cortland Sutton, he played like a rookie. He made quite a few pretty gnarly mistakes.
Yep.
But I just remember catching a glimpse, a camera on the side, aiming at the sideline after a egregious dropped pass by Cortland Sutton, rookie Cortland Sutton. And he's on the sideline and he's hanging his head. And DT's walks over and like grabs him by the shoulders, puts his forehead to his, and is just reassuring him. And I'm like, that's who DT was. He was there to not only perform, but to pick people up and build them up. And that's what he did, no matter what side of the ball.
If only we had a quarterback for that trio. That would have been such a sick combo to have. Like,
we had one. His name was Paxton Lynch. Sorry, I started to throw up in my mouth a little there, but
I can't remember who the quarterback of the year was. If it was the Case Keenum year, or if it was that was Paxton Lynch, man. I believe, if I remember right, that was the Paxton. Because remember, Emmanuel Sanders shipped off after that season. DT was still here with Cortland for part of the season, and then he was traded to the Houston Texans. That was the Keenum season. So that was the
the trio was Paxton. Sorry, every time I go, start saying for a vomit.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, DT, what a guy! And I would like to now pull up the tribute video made several years ago by yours truly. I'm proud of it, but made this back when DT passed away. But I think it still hits just as hard today as it did. And oh man, I'm making everybody puke when I say that name. Look at that, barf, puke. Lynch was a waste of a draft pick. The game was against the Texans after DT was traded. It was my first Broncos, Rob.
It was so weird to trade him to a team we were playing. It was one of those weird, like, all right, they're coming to town, and then you're leaving with the other people.
It's just like what they just did to Joe Flacco, sending him to
kind of
no similar. They sent the Browns sending Joe Flacco. They just faced off against the Green Bay Packers. They trade him to the Bengals just for the Bengals to go face the Green Bay Packers, so he sees them twice. Kind of crazy, but that definitely is sucks and is definitely weird when you do that. But It is what it is. We definitely missed him after that, and he passed away not long after, just a couple of years. So let's go ahead and let's cue up this video, guys. This is us showing our love. Rest in peace, DT.
Hey, I'm Demarius Thomas, and these are my 3 favorite moments in Denver. One of them, I would have to say my first touchdown in the NFL, I would say Seahawks, left sideline. I think it was week 2, Kyle Orton. That was my first touchdown in the NFL. And I thought I had made it, or that was in my head, like, you finally did it. So that's one of my moments. My second moment, I would have to go with Tim Tebow. It's like it was yesterday. Every time I see it, every time I watch it, I still get the chills because it was just crazy. Still get the chills, the cold chills, and I still remember it, and I always remember that one. After I hit that stiff arm, I knew I wasn't gonna get caught. I knew I was gonna get caught, but the crazy thing is I didn't know I had won the game. I didn't know the game was over with, because if I knew the game was over, I just would have went through the tunnel and then come back. But I thought the game we were still playing, but yeah, I heard the crowd, and then I was like, okay, it's done. Super Bowl. I will never forget that. That was the ultimate goal. That was the third moment, winning the Super Bowl. I still remember Super Bowl 50 right here. It's on me. I ain't gonna never forget it.
Yep. His friends call him Bebe.
Bebe. And like I said, I know that video is used several times on this show now, and it's old at this point, but I still think it tracks. I still think it shows who that dude was. I mean, at least as a player, he was, Rob brings up right here that catch against the Chiefs, one-handed in the end zone, is his favorite DT moment aside from the Tim Tebow, super playoff win. I think for me, Rob says, I'm not crying, you're crying. And Shy says, rest in peace, DT. I want to point out my favorite play aside from, at least in that video montage that I put together, had to be that bubble screen. It was week. I don't remember who we were playing in that game, but I remember that it was week 1 of the 2014 season.
So it was against the Ravens. It was the 7-touchdown game.
Yeah. And just that little bubble screen. I mean, he was in the flat. Peyton threw it to him. He got some great blocks. But when you saw how hard he ran, it wasn't just his legs pumping. It was his entire body. He left everyone in the dust. He was pushing so hard like that. If a normal person ran like that, their heart would explode. You know what I mean? Like he ran so hard, and every time I see that play, I'm like that right there. Not the prettiest play he ever made, not the best catch or whatever, but that just showed the heart that he had. And
it was just very rare to see a guy with the ability for yak that kind of way in his frame and how big he is. Brandon Marshall back in the day possessed that same kind of, pizzazz. Like he was just a monster of a man that could move so swiftly and outrun people. And DT could absolutely do that. That to me, Johnny, that bubble screen, that was like the quintessential, Thomas Manning connection. Like that was their play that nobody could stop.
Nobody could stop them. Nobody. Yep. It was amazing. Let's see. Shy says, how did DT pass away? He had a seizure. They believe
shower,
that he was in the shower. He was home alone. He'd been living with family though, from what I recall. He'd been living with his sister, I think, at the time. He'd been in a car right after he retired from the NFL. He got into a really bad car accident. And he'd had some traumatic. He'd had a TBI, a traumatic brain injury, a concussion, a very serious one. He was never diagnosed with a seizure disorder or epileptic, but they believe they're never able to confirm. But they do. But the medical professionals believed that the concussion he suffered in that car accident caused him to have a seizure. And it just happened that he was in the shower while alone and he stopped breathing, which can happen during a seizure. And he wasn't found until later in that day by his family coming back from a trip to the beach. And they came back and found him in the shower. It was devastating. And I remember it going out over NFL Network and it being announced. And it was, I remember, here's the thing. Rarely do I shed a tear for celebrities, professional athletes that pass away. I generally don't. There's a few that have affected me over the years. Robin Williams was one of them. That one I actually cried when I found out Robin Williams had died. But there are very few that actually truly profoundly affect me because I'm just like, okay, it's a person. It's sad, but it's a person just like any other person passing away. It's not. But there have been a few, and Demaryius Thomas's death was one that when I found out, I actually cried, cried real tears. But he's getting the honor. He's going to get his I believe it's his mom will be there on Sunday to receive his orange jacket for being in the Ring of Fame and his Ring of Fame ring. And his mom was the one that he played for. His mom was his heart. And so it's so fitting.
It wasn't until the NFL that she got to come see him, right?
Correct.
I didn't think. It was like his fourth year or something.
She had been incarcerated for years.
Yeah.
From what I understand, it was a drug issue.
Yep.
She'd been imprisoned, and his grandmother had done her best to kind of keep him on the straight and narrow and help him push him towards his goals. But he still loved his mom, and then she paroled early. And I remember he did an interview that week, and he was like, "My mom's coming. My mom's coming to the game." And he put on a show for her. I remember that game. I remember he put on a massive show, and they kept cutting to her with the camera in the stands. The very first time since he had been in middle school that his mom had seen him play football, and she, at least in person, and she was just ecstatic. And I remember he scored a touchdown, and he ran to the end zone, and he actually got fined for this, and he gave the ball to his mom in the stands. He handed it to her. Do you remember that, Jay?
Yeah. It's very, Cortland putting the ball. It was Cortland, right? Putting the ball on the 88.
On the 88. Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine we won't get another, Cortland Sutton highlight on the Giants
Justin
game.
Simmons did it too that game. Justin Simmons did it too following an interception during that game.
I think that's what I'm thinking of.
You're right. Cortland never put a ball on there, but of course, Cortland had his big moment with the painted 88.
Yeah.
It was against the Lions. It was the game right after DT had passed, and the Broncos organization had painted 88 on the field on the sideline, a big one. It was huge, and they worked it out. And this was one of my favorite NFL moments because it showed that regardless of competition and regardless of wanting to win a game, that players can come together in solidarity across the NFL. Because for those that don't remember, Cortland Sutton started that game on the kneeling on the 88 with his head down, and only 10 personnel lined up offensively for the Broncos, leaving the X position, which was Cortland's current position, and DT's former position open. And I can't remember if they
declined.
I'm trying to remember. Did they kneel it? No, they didn't kneel it. They let the clock run out.
Yeah.
Yeah. They delay of game. The Broncos did a delay of game with the position wide open, and the Lions in solidarity declined the penalty, like you said, Jay. And then Cortland, pointed to heaven, ran out on that field, took up that spot, and the Broncos went on to win that game.
It'll be cool. I didn't even think of this, but you know who a big player on this Super Bowl 50 team that will not be there is?
Von Miller.
Yeah.
I already thought about it.
As he's a Commander.
In fact, I would honestly say I think he's the only one that probably the only one who's not there because they're still playing in the NFL.
Well, and I was just looking up who do the Commanders play? I mean, they just play.
I guess there's another.
Football.
There's another, but it's in a position that you rarely talk about, Jay.
Brandon McManus.
Brandon McManus won't be there.
Yeah.
Because he's still in the game. But
the Commanders are in Dallas, so it's not like they play Monday night and Vaughn could swing it, or they have a weird schedule. Thursday night he could swing it, but nope. Sunday afternoon game for him.
Big Bad Vaughn won't be there. Brandon McManus won't be there, but I mean, many of the others will be there, and we'll actually be hanging out pregame at the tailgate with one of them. Cody Latimer is going to be coming by the tailgate, coming and hanging out with us at the tailgate. So it's going to be a lot of fun. If you guys are coming to the game this weekend, make sure you swing by C10, lot C10 during the tailgate time. Hang out with the Orange and Blue Network because a lot of us are going to be there and meet up with Cody Latimer is coming. So enjoy. But I digress. Yeah, now we can move on from DT a little bit. Rest in peace. We love you, and you'll always be, a legend to us. And now let's talk about the Super Bowl 50. The Super Bowl 50 squad. I want to reminisce a little bit about that run because it was special. It was special. So, Jay, what was some of the most just amazing moments of that season for you?
My Super Bowl 50 story is pretty terrific. I was downtown in Lodo during Super Bowl 50, and I got to a bar at 11 a.m. in anticipation for the 5:30 kickoff, and I was literally in downtown Denver for the entire day and night, in the riots at the end of the game, singing, in the streets with everybody. It was, a top 5 moment of my life. The Super Bowl 50 year was incredible because we weren't supposed to be there. It was a year where it didn't look pretty and it looked, dirty the way football has looked for us thus far this year, where the defense dominates and the offense just doesn't try to embarrass you. I don't know, man. Probably my favorite in-season moment is the C.J. Anderson run to beat the Patriots at home in the winter, the snow game. That's probably my favorite moment of that season. But I just remember the roller coaster. That's
our fellow Orange and Blue Network host George's favorite memory.
Yep,
Broncos memory of his life is that play. For me, of course, remembering the play, remembering Peyton Manning, remembering, Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, C.J. Anderson, all those guys and everything that they did. Julius Thomas wasn't on that squad. It was Owen Daniels, wasn't it? No. Was it Owen? No, Virgil Green. Virgil Green was on that. That was the tight end on that squad, the number 1 tight end. And then of course the no-fly zone. I mean, they were so they were so special. You had Ward and Strap Harris.
Darian Stewart was so underrated. So underrated.
Oh my gosh, he was so good. He was so good. Oh, we got a guest popping in. A familiar face here on the network when he can be. The Bronco grunt, Michael Yost. He's got to come in. But let me. Hi, Yost. I'm gonna let you talk in a minute. I promise.
What's up, boys?
But this is what. This is as much as I remember the play and all that. The memories of that season for me actually come down to a personal thing. That was this. It was that season that my two of my best friends, became my best friends, and that was that freaking fool down there, Michael Yost, and of course, co-founder of the Orange and Blue Network, Isaiah Henderson. And it began early in the season for me and Isaiah. He was one of my soldiers. I was his medic, and he got really sick, and he was in my aid station, and I was treating him because I was a medic, and he was. And while I was treating him, we were just talking. I'd never met him before. We were very new to each other, but I mentioned, I talked Broncos, and he goes, "Oh, that's my team. I love the Broncos." And that was the basis that formed that friendship, was that I invited him over the following weekend to watch a game with me. And then the rest is history. Isaiah is now the godfather of my kids, And later on in the season, I had befriended that goofy looking fool down there.
Let me tell how that's what happened.
And hold on, no, we don't need to go into all that. But and he wasn't even a football fan. He didn't even care about football. But he overheard me and Isaiah talking about coming over, having my homemade wings, Michael, and watching some football. And he was like, "Well, I want to come." I'm like, "Do you even care about football?" He's like, "No, not really, but I want to come." He shows up, hangs out with us.
Do you know anything about football? No. Do you like wings?
Yeah.
Haven't had him a lot. You're coming, okay?
And he comes over, and through the rest of that season, Michael became a diehard Broncos fan to the point where me and Isaiah were hanging out on Super Bowl Sunday, watching that game together, drinking together, so much so that I was a trash mess. And it was that's my Super Bowl 50 memory. Is that season is the friendships that I built that season watching the Broncos.
Dude, yours is so much more wholesome than mine. I got pepper sprayed and was in a riot.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
friendship and laughter.
That still sounds like a good time, dude.
Hey, I got so drunk. I got so drunk the night of Super Bowl 50, dude, that after the game, my wife threatened to divorce me because I was so hammered. I fell face first into the dishwasher in our kitchen, denting it with my face in so bad that it couldn't close anymore. Then I stood up. Yeah, I stood up and started making my way towards the living room and sloshing all over the place. And I fell sideways. Shut up. I fell sideways through the plate glass door of our back door. Got up and was like, I'm fine. I'm fine. And my wife was like, literally like, Michael, put him on the freaking couch. And I swear to God, if you're like this tomorrow, we're getting a divorce.
And then like 30 minutes later, I almost jumped out of a moving vehicle because I was just so it's like the blackout finally hit me. I just remember like we're on the roadway and I was just like, I need to go outside. And the person that was driving was like, get your ass back in the car. I'm like,
Yeah, but Michael, what is your favorite memories of that season?
My favorite memories are definitely like same with you, right? Like the friendship and the bond that formed between you, me, and Isaiah. Sitting in your garage, watching the games, eating wings, right? Hanging out with Barbara, and at the time, you only had Jacks, right? So and sitting there with Bubba. I miss Bubba. That's such a good dog.
He was such the best, man.
He's the best dog ever.
That is the most affected I've ever been by almost any death in my life was when I lost Bubba.
As far as one of my favorite, probably my favorite memory of that season on the field, I think it was, I don't know if it was either the first day I had worn the jersey or it was the moment where I realized that was the jersey I was going to buy. I think it was the first day I wore the jersey.
I was going to say, I don't think you had his jersey yet, but I know where you're going with this.
But it was, I think it was a home game, and Talib, they were on our 20-yard line going for the end zone. Talib jumps up, grabs the ball, and I just remember going, that my guy, that one right there. I like him.
Yeah, no, from that moment in my garage. So my garage at that time was the man cave. Like I had a couch out there and a table and all my Bronco stuff was on the walls. It was actually pretty badass. It was really cool. But because of Michael's sudden love of Aqib Talib, like he went out and bought number 21, and you bought it in white, if I remember right. You got the white jersey.
No, I got the orange one. No, I got the orange one. I've got the orange one. My wife has the white one.
That's right. But from that moment, every time Talib did something, in the garage, the three of us would look at each other and go, Aqib Talib, like it was. Oh man, what a time! The chain for me, that part of that, the chain snatch on Michael Crabtree. Just I was like, what an asshole, but I love him.
Like that's the thing I gotta say is like I know we talk about how the mindset and the team. What up, Ty?
What up, dude?
Love you, brother. One half of the Incomplete podcast.
There you go. I would like the mindset of the team now versus the mindset of the team in 2015 is day and night, because the sheer arrogance and aggression that our defense had in that season between Talib, Von Miller, like
Chris Harris,
Derek Wolf,
Jay Ward,
Derek Wolf. Like it was every time they stepped on the field, they were immediately insulted by whoever they were playing. Like, you have the audacity that you're going to try to get a touchdown or a first down. Again, you have the audacity. and they were that's why they were absolutely just dogs. Like I love Von Miller. I love that he's still in the game. Von Miller in his prime, wearing orange and blue, was a sight to behold. Was just a sight to behold. Like everybody's like, oh, Micah Parsons, Micah Parsons, and brother, I'd take prime Von Miller over prime Micah Parsons any day of the week.
Oh, and twice on Sunday. Now, here's what I will say to your point. Not the attitudes of these two defenses, the 2015 Broncos and the 2025 Broncos. You're right, night and day. However, like you're talking like that defense was just so angry. They were so, like you said, like any team that would just dare step on the field with them, they were insulted by the fact that you'd even dare put your feet on their field. This team is like, we're just gonna show you. Yeah. Like we're not pissed off. We're not like angry. We know who we are, but we're not gonna flaunt it. We're just gonna show you. Get ready to meet us. And so it's different, but in fact, I'm going to tell you, Michael, this defense is going to be as dominant, if not more dominant, than that 15 squad.
Which I'm 100% for. I think there's still maybe one or two tweaks that with injuries and whatnot that need to happen with it.
Sure.
But. Yes, cool. We can stop the ball. We can put pressure on quarterbacks. We can get sacks, right? We have sack leaders that are rivaling the entirety of the NFL, right? Love it, all about it, right? If we cannot move the ball offensively at all, doesn't matter, right? Unless Nick Bonito and PS2 and Huafunga are all just getting interceptions, like at least one a game and running it back for a pick six. Right.
That is one thing that we have not seen this year. Is there has not been tons of turnovers. It's not like our defense has put points up. That 2015 defense, I mean, every other game they were getting a pick six. They were getting a fumble return. They were getting some sort of monumental turnover that like set the offense up of like, all right, just don't screw this up, and you got 3 points at least. And we have not put our offense in that situation this year. That is a big
I'll postulate that the breakthrough I was talking about for the offense is going to be similar for the defense. I say week 8, we're going to see some turnovers.
It's crazy to think this defense thus far is not at their true potential. Like they haven't played their best football yet.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I said this team is as dominant, if not more dominant than the 2015, than the no-fly zone.
My prediction, I can tell you right now, my prediction is the first run back pick 6 is going to be Huafunga. I think he's going to be the one that gets it. I feel like that's probably going to be the first pick 6. I think that's
he almost had that one. I mean, he had just had his hands out a little further. It had been in there, and he would have been past the quarterback into that end zone. It's coming.
I love our defense. Our defense is, as like I said, only reason why we held back.
Yeah.
The Jets. I remember I texted you during the I ended up waking up late. I woke up late, so I missed the whole first quarter, right? And so I rush out to the living room, I turn on TV and I'm watching it, and I'm just remember texting going, I'm about to I was like, thank God you don't have me on pre or post game show because I'd be dropping just so many curse words, like I'd just lose, like I would go full just grunt mode, like, what are you doing? This is the Jets. Like, I was gonna lose my mind because we all know, right? Everybody who's watching this knows we aren't a terrible team, right?
We're not. In fact,
we're like no longer. I don't even think that I consider us in the rebuilding phase, right?
Let me ask you this: Did either of you see Zach Stevens' video he made a couple of days ago about the Broncos? About from Zach Stevens, DNVR, good friends of the show. Jay, you know Zach better than I do, on a personal level. But did you see the video he made where he postulated that the Broncos are the best overall team in the NFL, even right now, even with their struggles? Did you see that?
I did not, but I did tune into the podcast and I did listen to the reason for the video, like the inspiration for him, just the thought process too. And I mean, he's not wrong. I love Zach. He always has a little bit of orange colored glasses, but he's always the optimist. He's always the optimist, and he's always glass half full.
He's the
and I appreciate that role. I appreciate that. I tend to be the opposite, but it is.
That's asshole.
and I'm like right in between.
I believe it when I see it, and this team has all the potential in the world because we've got every level covered coaching. We've got every level covered in top line depth. We're set up for success. There's no excuses.
No,
but we haven't seen.
This is the point, and we'll make this point. Anybody else? Do you guys have any more Super Bowl 50? Memories or thoughts?
I just have one other little tidbit that just underappreciated players on that Super Bowl 50 team that made it run the way it did. And that two people, Danny Trevathan, which is a linebacker that we have not replaced since him in coverage, covering the tight ends, being a dynamic, speed-oriented linebacker that can just fly everywhere. That guy.
Trevathan was special, man.
And then the no-fly zone was great against the pass, obviously. But the reason they were so good is because we also were amazing against the run. And Terrence Pot Roast was a major point in the middle, clogging up the spaces. And dude, I love Knighton.
So big, man.
So thunderous and so like he just had a presence.
Ridiculously athletic for a man of his body type.
And what kind of nickname a pot roast? How can you not love that?
Go.
Yeah, but usually you think pot roast and you think like this, and you think the enormous dude he was, but you think like slow and lumbering. No, he was like, I am 6'7" and almost 300 pounds, and I'm going to eat you alive. And he just charged in there, man.
I am Mongo.
He was. Yeah,
those are
Mongo.
Those are also two players.
Player.
Two players that left after Super Bowl 50 that we did not retain. So, I mean, dude, those were intricate parts of why that defense was as good as they were.
So here's what I'm going to postulate, and I'm going to I'm taking Zach Stevens' video. This is right before we get out of here, guys. We're going to get ready to roll out because we're over an hour and a half now. It's been a fun episode. And, a big part of the reason we're over an hour and a half, I know it's late, and I know that we don't usually go this long, but we got to reminisce tonight, and that's something we don't do that often, so it was special. But I will postulate this, and this is taking Zach Stevens as my inspiration for this, but think about this team, okay? And I understand, Michael, before you roll your eyes, okay, careful, you'll give yourself a headache. I understand that the Jets game was it was the lowest of the low for this season for our offense. It did not look good. But I got to postulate this, okay? Defensively, obviously, every single game this season, dominant and hungry, right? The Broncos have lost 2 games. One to a team that was on a tear before they got tore up by injuries. And another to a team that nobody thought would amount to anything. Shout out to your wife, Michael.
Colts are on a tear this year. Colts are on an absolute tear.
But it has turned out to be one of the best teams in the NFL this season, and we lost them both by a last second, not last drive, last minute, last second field goal. Otherwise, we have been in every single game.
Yeah.
And we have beaten the champs. We're on a three game win streak. Currently, I believe the longest win streak in the NFL, or close to it. No, tied for third. Tied for third longest win streak in the NFL right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, we are also tied for the second. No, tied for the best record in the NFL right now at 4-2. Mm-hmm. And Colts, the only games we've lost.
Yeah, I was going to say Colts have only lost 1. I thought.
They've lost 2. They've lost two.
Damn.
Yep.
We are tied for the best record in the NFL right now.
It's Colts, and Chargers, us,
Eagles,
which I I'll tell you right now, the Eagles game,
and
us putting belt to ass to the Eagles, I think is really what got everybody to actually look at us and be like, oh, what is happening here?
Absolutely. So my postulation, all of that considered, we've lost 2 games, and both those games lost were by a last-second field goal. This is the best. This is one of the best teams in the NFL, regardless of what we saw in London. It wasn't pretty, but we got the win, and I believe this team can still make the push.
And I'll just resort back to what I said earlier during my stand-up routine. Hey. It depends on what team shows up on Sunday. What offense are we going to get? What direction are we going to go here? Because I feel like London was definitely should be a wake-up call to this team. I was kind of talking about that via the comments on the Bros last night of like, man, I don't want us to play to our competition for once. We need to blow it out of the water.
We need to make them play to us.
But my thing is I don't need it to be a blowout game, right? I don't need it. Like, I would love for every game to be like the Bengals game. I think everybody would, right? Everybody loves to see that, right? But I just need to see us make progress throughout the game. All right. I don't want just like first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. It's like, okay, we kind of got some movement. We didn't really see much. And then fourth quarter, it's like, oh, hey, we got 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, right? And the Broncos have a history of being a fourth quarter team. Have a history of it, right? Got it. But I'm so tired of nail biters where it's like, hey, we're down 17-3 going into the fourth quarter. Now we got to, turn on the Jets and, excuse my pun, and just go for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just, I don't. To your point, to Jay's point, you want the Broncos to dictate the flow of the game. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all we've ever wanted. It's just, the thing is, like you said it, Michael. It's never been the Broncos' identity. Or not never, but a big part of the Broncos' just historical identity is the comeback kids.
Yeah. We have a track record. Like
Elway was the king of comebacks. I mean,
and then you had the Tebow
drive,
magic.
Man. Huh? Yeah, Tebow
magic of coming back.
Magic. Even Peyton Manning did it several times during his tenure.
Quite a bit. Quite a bit.
This is historically, this team are the comeback kids. If that's our identity and we're still winning games, I'm fine with it. Do I want us to be the dictators of the flow? Sure. Do I want us to conduct, the orchestra through the whole thing? Absolutely. If it doesn't happen, as long as we're still winning games, I don't care.
Dubs. Yeah. It's just get a dirty, grimy W.
So, guys, we're going to get ready to roll. Yost, thanks for jumping in. It was great to share some Super Bowl 50 memories, with you, because we were together for that. And Jay, you were, while you were, in the greatest place possible for that and getting pepper sprayed by the police, even though I guarantee you were just standing back going, I didn't do anything.
I was shielded behind some homeless people on 16th Street Mall.
Homies on a side quick.
Were you pepper sprayed or did you get hit with the tear gas? Because Michael and I have been hit with both.
I got hit with the can. Like, the can bounced off me, and then I just sprinted.
So you got hit with that. You got hit with that CS gas, that tear gas, man.
Yeah, it was brutal. My whole side of the face was just red and throbbing.
Okay, no. You think you had it bad? You ask me, and that guy over there what it's like to go through the gas chamber in basic training. All right, kidding. Here, I'm going to give my Yost. I'll let you give your story on that before we get out of here. Now that we've made this quick, segue. But Jay has been tear gassed by police in a Denver Broncos related riot. Myself, during basic training, you have to go through, for the Army, you have to go through the gas chamber. And you get in there, you walk in, you can barely see, you're rocking your gas mask, right? They have you lift it for just a second take a quick hit and then put it back on, just so that your lungs know what they're about to experience. You're like, oh, you know, but then you blow it out of your mask and you're good again. Then you walk into this big room and you're standing there and you get in this line in front of a drill sergeant and they tell you to take your mask off, place it against your chest, and take a deep breath and open your eyes. And so you're like, open your eyes, and all of a sudden you're, you know, and you can't, your eyes are watering, your nose, your sinuses release everything inside, and they're just draining down your face. And you're sitting here trying not to vomit while trying to cough and all this stuff. And they make you say like a few words usually, right? They make you say something like, you can't leave until you've recited like this general order, which is, you know, usually like it takes you like 10 seconds to recite a general order. And they're like, all right, get out of here. You walk out and everybody's, as they're walking out, is still vomiting and throwing up and, you know, snot draining from their face. It's the grossest thing you've ever seen. And I just happened to be in the final group to have to go through. And I get up there and they still have a lot of gas to burn off. And so they're like, okay, we're going to make this whole group sing the national anthem. I'm like, everybody before me had said like one sentence and then left. But they're like, no, you got to get through the whole national anthem. I'm like, oh, God, I'm going to die. So I'm sitting here. Oh, see. Oh, God damn it. You know, I was losing my mind. Finally, I got out, and there's a camera crew there, by the way, too, Jay. There's a video of this filming you as you come out of that gas chamber. And like you come out, and the snot is literally hanging in strings off of your face. And then you're just people puking. It was terrible. Michael, what was your tear gas experience?
Oh, my gas.
Did not have this on my bingo card tonight, boys.
Dude,
hey, it's fun.
This happens when you get the Army guys in talking about stuff. We'll be here for 3 hours. But no, I just remember I went in when I was going through, because I'm an infantry guy, so they like to have even more just terrible fun. So I remember walking in, right? You have to lift up your, like the first time you lift up your gas mask, right? Because you in there, you lift it up, and you have to say your roster number and something else, right? And they have to put it back down and try to clear it. And I couldn't re-clear my mask.
You couldn't clear your mask?
I couldn't re-clear my mask. So I just have CS gas trapped inside a mask on my face. And I'm like, and then they were like, then they started walking by and they were like, no, I think they were doing like by the line, the infantryman's creed. So they're like, you know, go to this guy, you know, infantryman's creed, you know, I'm the infantry, da 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 da. And they got to me and I like looked it up and I just started hacking everywhere. I actually have a book that's in storage right now. But I have the yearbook from basic training still.
Yeah, I have mine.
So they take the picture. So like finally, we're all dying. Snot's coming everywhere. I run outside the door and there's a picture of me in that yearbook of just snot, everything just running down, right? You can't breathe. There's like this. What life decisions led me here? Why did I do this to myself?
I remember getting done with it. And going with the next time we went to the PX to pick up, you know, like cough drops and stuff, because cough drops were currency for us.
The candy.
But I mean, like, you know, you would, you know, you want someone to take your fire guard shift, pay him 15 cough drops, you know. But like, we went back and there was a postcard. It folded out. And it was like a cartoon postcard of soldiers in the gas chamber, and it literally says, "I survived the gas chamber." And I remember sending it to my parents, and one to my wife and one to my parents, being like, "Guess what I just did?" Like, worst experience, probably one of the worst experiences of my life. But it was looking back, I look back on it fondly.
Oh, dude, I'm super excited because I don't know if I told you this. I'm getting ready to go to
I know,
to drill school.
To drill.
So I get to
it again.
So I get to go and be the bad guy in the gas.
Yeah, but before you do that, they're gonna make you go through it again.
You lived through it once, you'd live through it again.
But Jay got, but you know, I do love the fact, Jay, that you didn't just breathe it, but you got hit by the canister that got launched.
Yeah.
It
like hit the ground and then hit me. So it like had enough time to had enough time to like spark out and start puming, before it got to me. But yeah.
Oh
great
man.
Times. Great times.
Anyway, guys, I'm so sorry. I know it's late and we've been here a long time, but thank you for sticking it out with us. This has been one of the funnest and most interesting episodes of Nothing Rhymes in a long time. Thank you for being here with us. I got to ask you to please, if this is the first time you've been here or you haven't already, like, subscribe, share, and comment. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube because we are less than 60 subscribers away from giving away a free Bo Nix jersey. Ring that little notification bell so you don't miss any of our awesome shows like the Orange and Blue Blitz, Broncos Bros, Nothing Rhymes is this show, Mile High Sports Symposium, Broncos Talk, Viva Los Broncos, soon to come, the Mile High Outcast. You've got the Fresh Squeeze and game day shows called Buck Your Feelings and Get Bucked. Guys, you don't want to miss any of it. Make sure you find us on X and on Facebook as well. And check out the audio version of our podcast wherever you find your favorites. I want to thank, of course, as always, my co-host, my cousin Jay, as always, for being my one of my lifelong ride or die. I love you, cuz, and I appreciate, I love doing this with you. Michael, thanks for jumping in at the 11th hour to relive some memories. And we will be back next week. Don't forget to check out all of our other shows. And let's go Broncos. Beat the Giants.
Beat the Giants, baby.
All right. So with that, a big Mile High salute. And DT, rest in peace, baby. Mile High salute and good night, Broncos country. Go Broncos.
Orange and blue, we're here for you. Talking Broncos all day through. No stopping us, we're on the loose. Come join the crew, no bad news. Podcast vibes so fresh and true. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Catching up on all that we knew. And play, let the episodes accrue. Nothing rhymes.